Hello and welcome to Bits Play Games! In this video, I want to go over some of the many leaks that have come out for the Switch 2 in the last month or so. Especially the last couple of weeks, they seem to just keep on coming to where you feel like Nintendo probably should just announce the system instead of everyone getting all the information before they make the announcement. Hopefully this month. But I'm going to kind of go back maybe a month or two and go over the leaks and give my thoughts on them. Some leaks that I'm going to show might be a little bit more possible than others or more legitimate, but let's start with the first one. So the first leak that I feel like started this non-stop barrage we've been getting was this render for the Switch 2. And it kind of went from there, and everything that this render is showing has been matching up the subsequent leaks. So, off the bat, looking at this render, it just looks like a Switch. It doesn't look like they're reinventing the wheel for their next generation system. So, and I'm not mad at that. I really don't want them to reinvent it or try to do something way different because I like my Switch. I like the concept. I like what it does. And that's why I'm going to get a Switch 2, because I use my Switch more than any of my other systems, and I enjoy it. So I am happy that it looks like we're getting just a better Switch. So hopefully that's the case. But that's the first leak that kind of, I feel like, was really starting to get things going. Okay, so in that batch of leaks that was with that render, we also have a picture of back of the back of the Switch 2. And they had kind of the shell for the Joy-Cons, which, looking now, if you're familiar with some of the more recent leaks I'm going to go over, you can kind of see that it is right in line. And this, I feel like this came out at least a month or two ago. But if not more, I feel like it just feels forever now. But you can tell by looking at these that it's pretty much in line with what's coming out now. And there was a little bit of a picture of the motherboard here. A lot of it's just kind of the bones. But there's the front again, the back, the top. And I'll point out something in a second. But, I mean, it definitely just looks like it's going to be a sleek machine. So here's a good render that was part of all that, which looks, you know, like what we're seeing now. Like, you can see, like, the bigger SL, SR buttons on the top here, which, I mean, you can't really get a scale of the Joy-Con from this, but you can at least see those buttons are bigger. And you can see the rail here it's definitely bigger as well. At this point, I don't think we had any thought or valid proof that we were going with like a magnet, but you can see the C button here, which I don't know if it was really brought up back then, but it became a bigger thing, I feel like, later when there's more pictures. And there's a picture of the tablet. But yeah, so that's just more with that first leak with the render and some of the other stuff that came out around that time. So since those early renders, we've been getting a lot, and I feel like from that point to today, it was kind of stuff that it was like, yeah, it looks believable, but you weren't sure. But I feel like the wave has really come in the last couple weeks, and we've been getting leaks of alleged pictures of the dock, which I will show. Here's a render here of what the dock could potentially look like. And I know some people are saying they don't maybe like that kind of design, but I think it looks pretty cool. And here is a picture that just came out today, which is from Laura Kate Dell on X posted. And it is a picture apparently of the back of the dock. And she says here that you can see the voltage info on here, which looks like input, it can output 15 and it can take 20. So that's basically telling us that it's going to be more than the Switch. I can't off the top of my head think of, I could probably just look at my dock, but what the Switch take. I know it's not that much. So you won't be able to use, at least it seems you won't be able to use your Switch 1 in the Switch 2 dock, but you should be able to charge your Switch with the same USB-C cord or charger, because I feel like that should still be fine. And yep, right on the side here, she says that as well. But yeah, I mean, it kind of looks like that render we just looked at, but so maybe that gives that a little credence. But yeah, I mean, the dock definitely looks like it's going to be different. I've seen some renders where the Switch screen kind of pops up a little bit, and kind of where you might see time or weather or something like that. So I don't know, based on this, it looks like it wouldn't stick up too much if this is the height of it, but it's hard to tell from just that one picture. So next, and probably the most talked about thing, other than maybe the power of the Switch 2 that has come out recently, are these new pictures of the Joy-Cons. And it looks like we're going, instead of getting the solid color on the outside, like the blue and red, it looks like they're going to differentiate the left and right Joy-Cons on the color on the inside, kind of where the rel is, which from some of these renders, and also the color should be, I mean, maybe we'll show it. I don't know. Doesn't look like it. But it looks like the color from some of the renders and leaks that the color would be under the analog stick as well. So I feel like that adds some accent to the controller and it complements it well. And it just gives it a sleek overall look. I'll show more of those renders that kind of what I'm talking about. But off of these leaks, it's been talked about right here, this sensor, that it will be a mouse sensor. And that's something I would have never expected. It's something, I don't think it's like that complicated to do. It's just, like, it's something I very Nintendo, I feel like, but it's not something I was expecting. But I love that idea. I think if you can use one of the Joy-Cons as a mouse, it just opens up opportunities for kind of there's times up when I'm just somewhere away from my computer or I have my laptop and it's just like, oh, I wish I could just use a mouse real quick. And I feel like in handheld mode with the Switch 2, there might be games where, like Mario Maker, where you're gonna want to use that Joy-Con, like just detach it, put it on a couch arm or something, or if you have a mouse pad, and just go at it. So I think that would be a really cool feature if that's what it is. And there is someone posted on X, if I can find it, kind of just a little kind of example of what that might look like. Yeah, here we go. And that's from Nintendo God on X. But yeah, this Joy-Con leak, I'm liking the look of the Joy-Con, and the idea of using it as a mouse really is appealing. And the magnetic parts there, some people are a little weird about it being a magnetic like connect, but I think that's going to be pretty cool. And I think it kind of opens up the options when you do that compared to having to have an actual rel system. When I feel like with even just attachments, because I feel like with how the rel is, it's just, I don't know. I feel like it gives more opportunity for it to get messed up, because I feel like it wouldn't take much for that. The Joy-Cons also look a little bit bigger, so you can tell, yeah, you can definitely tell in that person's hand. I can't tell how big that person's hand is, but it just looks like they're going to be more substantial. And if that's the case, then one of the big problems with a lot of people, including myself, is using the normal Joy-Cons and using them sideways with the little SR and SL buttons. It makes it's doable in a pinch to play multiplayer with someone just handing a Joy-Con, but with these Joy-Cons, it looks like it's actually going to be a lot more comfortable and playable. Also, the analog stick the whole thing just looks a little bit more substantial, and that is just going to it's just going to help with that issue with the original Switch. Another leak that actually, there was an article posted today on Eurogamer by Digital Foundry, and they kind of go over some of the specs here. I'm not like a spec guy, and if you've watched my videos, that's not really what I focus on. But from what I'm reading here, and if you kind of want to just take a look on it, I'll have a link in the description. You can kind of get that it's going to be powerful, but I mean, maybe not as powerful as a PS4 Pro, which is something that's been going around lately, but maybe more in line with the PS4. But that's one of the things that even when the Switch 1 came out, it was underpowered. But it's all about how you make the games, and also you have other modern technology which makes things possible on it that might not have been as possible on maybe a more powerful system years back. Like, it looks like there's going to be AI 4K upscaling, like the NVIDIA DLSS. So hopefully that is something we're gonna get. Yeah, here we go here. The upscaling pattern on the face of it looks like it's gonna be more of the NVIDIA DLSS. But it looks like they're saying that there's kind of more going on. Like, it's not going to be exactly that, but maybe different types of upscaling all being used. It's Nintendo. Like, I mean, their system is very manufactured to how they want it to be and for the games they're going to be making. And also, hopefully this is going to be easy to develop for, because there's so many things to keep in mind too, like battery life, easy to develop for, just different, especially, and then just what it can do in handheld mode, frame rate, like all of that needs to be taken into consideration. Here we go. From Deck Wizard, we got, well, I guess this would be MJR here, that these are just renders with the correct size, and this is a good comparison, it looks like, of compared to the OLED. And it actually, if this is correct, this actually looks a good bit bigger than I thought. I thought it would be slightly bigger than the OLED, but the screen's definitely bigger. And I was always the one who loved getting the 3DS XL, the DS XL. The bigger screen just made it a lot. My eyes are already going bad. I need that bigger screen. So with these comparisons here, kind of gives a good idea of the size we're going to be dealing with, and that just looks slick, honestly. If that's even close to what the color scheme is going to be, I like it. Let me know how you feel about it, because I've seen a lot of these renders with the orange and blue. I mean, and it's almost like a muted black. It's not like too, I like it. I think it's really appealing. And something I didn't really talk about, which obviously this is a render because it just looks like the capture button over here was just reused. But with the leaks, this was a C button. And that's the last thing I want to talk about, because it's the thing I'm most excited for. And that is what the C button is going to be used for. Now, it's kind of one of those moments where I hope I was right, because I released a video in the beginning of 2024, a prediction video, which I got everything wrong. But one of the things I mentioned about the Switch 2 in that video is that it would have an ability to basically kind of a reverse Wii U situation, how with the Wii U, the console, it was able to send the data to the gamepad to be able to play your games on your gamepad while someone else was using the TV. Now, I was thinking, oh, well, that would be cool if the Switch 2 could send information from the Switch to the dock, which is plugged into the TV, and then have a second screen, which would allow you to do like 3DS games, or maybe on the Virtual Console, DS games. So that extra C button, and as soon as that was a big thing and everyone was talking about it, everyone was saying, maybe it's a cast button. And I'm like, I said that already before it was even shown. But I hope I'm right. I hope they're right. I feel like it's what a lot of us Nintendo fans want, because we want to be able to play DS, 3DS games on it. So that'd be really cool. And I hear people mention that, oh, okay, well, that you could do it on the TV, but what about in handheld mode? They could do a situation like how the Wii U did to 3DS, where on the gamepad, you could potentially hold it like vertically, holding it like vertically like this, and having like one screen on the top, one on the bottom, then you have your stylus or finger or whatever, and you could play it that way. Now, obviously that could be the case, and that would work pretty good for DS games. Now, 3DS games use kind of more button input, so that could get a little bit confusing. So I'm sure that they'd have a format they could do it in handheld mode. I'll have to pull it up, but I believe there was a patent for some kind of like separate screen Nintendo was doing, and I don't know if it's something they're actually going to do or not, or if it was even real. But if there's any credibility to that, it could be an option to buy a second screen to have these 2-screen features that are kind of baked into the Switch 2, but on the go more if you wanted to, almost like as an option. Like, oh, okay, you don't have to do that because like maybe people wouldn't want the extra bulk, but who knows if that's going to happen. It's probably more likely that if they do a thing where you cast the image to the TV for 3DS, DS, that they're just going to have some kind of way to do it in handheld that doesn't require a second screen. Either way, the amount of games they'd be able to add with by doing that, and just extra functionality to newer games, just, you know, the Wii U stuff. I mentioned this in my hopes for the Switch 2 video. I kind of brought it back up, where you're taking everything good about the DS, the Wii U, in the Switch, and putting it all in one. Yes, the Wii U wasn't a successful console, but it did have good things about it, which I enjoyed. It had a lot of other problems, but I did like the second screen, and I did like how they used it in some situations. So a lot of potential there, especially if it's kind of an option, but we'll see. But overall, I feel like we have to get an announcement this month. We have to. I mean, how many more leaks are we gonna get before everything's known about it? And like at this point, Nintendo's just gonna release it, because what's the point of a reveal if everything's already out there? Let me know what you think about all the leaks coming out and what you want for the next system, and if you think it's going to be released in April, when you think it's going to be released, when you think it's going to be announced, first of all, hopefully this month. And if it is released, I will cover it and talk about it. So give me your thoughts in the comments. I appreciate you guys watching. If you haven't subscribed, please take a look at my channel, see if you want to do that, and take a look at some of my other videos. Until next time, thanks for watching. Bye!